Report story. All right, Hima, are we ready? Izuku asked, getting himself into his meditative position after ensuring that Eri was controlled in her quirk training. I'm ready, the tiny fairy in front of him announced, bobbing up and down. All right then. Izuku closed his eyes, allowing one for all to course through him yet again. Izuku felt the grass beneath him disappear, the light breeze vanish, and the sounds around him turn to complete nothingness. You can open your eyes now, Hima called out. Izuku opened his eyes and looked around. A black void with hinted accents of different colored areas floated around. This was it, he was inside one for all. Is this the actual quirk or is this just the illusion? Izuku asked. This is the actual quirk. Your consciousness is inside one for all. It's up to you to make stronger contact with it, however. I can get you in, but your actual connection to it is out of my possibility. Hima said. Izuku nodded and stood. All right then. Well, I don't see any of the previous users around. I need to talk to them to get answers on using Black Whip and other secrets of One for All. Izuku mumbled to himself, pacing and taking glances at his surroundings. However, as much as Izuku thought to himself, no idea came to mind. One hurdle down, another one to go, huh? Izuku once again mumbled, I'm sorry, I couldn't get you exactly what you needed. Hima said sadly. Izuku turned quickly to look at the little fairy. Not at all. You've done more than enough. In fact, there is something that I can do here. I can feel One for All still coursing through me. I'm mentally connected, but also connected by my quirk. Would that count as physically? Whatever it counts as, maybe I can use this. Izuku stood for a second, closing his eyes. He felt One for All. But what now? Hima yawned. Izuku's eyes snapped open, unprepared to hear a yawning sound. You alright, Hima? Izuku asked. Hima rubbed her eye. I'm alright. It just takes a lot of energy to focus on this and Aries training at the same time, she said, her eyes getting droopy. I can leave you here. I was able to open it, but you are connected now. You shouldn't need my illusion's help to get in. I shouldn't, but I'll head back with you. I don't want Eri to get nervous when her ball of light disappears. I'll head back with you, Izuku said. If Eri's ball illusion disappeared suddenly, she would probably panic and feel she did something wrong. Izuku started allowing One for All to deactivate, feeling the power fade from his body. So what? Yusuke asked, both Asagiri and himself peeking from the side of the shrine. Asagiri was studying. Izuku Midoriya hadn't moved, though green energy had started slightly coursing around him. The little girl had yellow energy coming from her horn. Her hands were out, as if she were holding something. What was Hima creating for the girl? The girl seemed to be focused. Was she practicing her quirk? Was Izuku Midoriya doing the same? We're leaving for now, Asagiri said quietly. Before Midoriya wakes up, you removed Uraraka's memories of the few seconds she saw you when you knocked her out, right? Yup. How did you know her name? Yusuke asked. Let's just say, I'm a bit more connected to the hero program than you'd believe, she said, smiling as she stood and turned heel. Promoted stories. You'll also like Shining Light 42.8K 928 Quickless. Normal. No heroes or quirks. So Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka have been best friends since kindergarten. But when problems in high school try to drift them, The Black Lady of the Night vigilante hero was out one night and saw a person fighting a whole group of villains all by themselves, but the problem is that they're badly injured and no one knows. Golden, Hispanic, Latina. Femme. Reader. Ex-Izuku, heiress to the richest company in the world. The government of Japan has good relationships with your grandfather. It was the duty of the government to save. There's something up with Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya had watched his mentor fight for his life and end up using the last of his power. Now being the sole wielder of One for All, Izuku knows he needs to work. Villain Deku 11.6k 271 words. 23,820. Izuku was just 14 when he met All Might and asked if he can be a hero, but All Might crushes his dreams and left him on a rooftop. What All Might didn't. Dreamscape 372k 10.4 kyn has been trapped for most of her life, used as a tool for others' gain. Her quirk was fabricated to be used as the perfect weapon, a weapon to help in stealing other. Feel fear, my dear Sword O. Though her name was also on her room door. Come. Speaking of heroes and programs, I have a few people to meet. She started walking back through the forest, Yusuke behind her, with her mind racing. So Midoriya was using Hima's illusions and reality bending to train the girl and himself. What was that girl looking at? She had issues controlling her quirk before. Maybe some kind of representation of her energy. Asagiri smiled. This was exciting. Izuku's eyes blinked a few times, adjusting to the sunlight shining through the pink leaves. He wiped the water from his adjusting eyes and looked down at Eri. The ball of light was still in her hands, keeping its shape. Eri was controlling her quirk nicely. Good job, Eri. Go ahead and stop your quirk. We're gonna call it a day for today. Izuku said happily. Eri, with a bit of struggle, allowed the yellow light to disappear from her horn. The ball of light, Hima's illusion that represented Eri's power, faded as well. I did it, Eri called. That was harder than I thought. It'll get easier over time. Izuku said, standing and stretching. Okay, Hima. Thank you. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, right? Izuku asked. Hima, still appearing in her fairy form illusion, nodded, still rubbing her eye. Yes. Good night, she said as she slowly faded into nothingness. Eri looked amazed. How can she just keep disappearing and changing shape and stuff? Eri asked. Izuku laughed. You can pretty much do anything with illusions. The real Hima is asleep upstairs in the shrine. One day you'll meet the real her, but she wants to get better before you do. Can you wait for that? Yes. Plus she's cute as a fairy. Eri said. Izuku chuckled. She is, isn't she? Izuku said, now looking up to spot Ochako, who was laid out on the shrine stairs. Izuku's face contorted to confusion. He wasn't in the vestige realm that long was he. He looked down at Eri, who was holding his hand now as she smiled at him. She didn't look very tired, and she was actually training. Eri, did you see when Ochako fell asleep? Izuku asked her as they started walking towards Ochako. Eri shook her head. No, I'm sorry, I was focused on my quirk. Eri said apologetically. Izuku, however, shook his head. No, it's alright. That's what you should have been focused on. I'm just overthinking. At least Izuku hoped he was overthinking. Eri and Izuku stopped in front of Ochako, who was seemingly sleeping peacefully. He squatted down. He couldn't help but smile just a bit. He brushed some of Ochako's hair back to look at her peacefully sleeping face. She was so beautiful. Usually they had slept together, so it was rare to see her just sleeping away. She seemed so at peace. If only the nagging feeling in the back of Izuku's mind would allow him to enjoy the scene. Izuku noticed the phones on the ground, his smartphone and her flip phone. Right, Ochako had asked for his phone before he started a wrist training. Why did she need both of them out? Was she researching something? Izuku shook his head. Questions for later. He shoved the phones in his pocket before turning back to Ochako. He lightly tapped her shoulder. Ochako. Hey Ocha, we should head home. He said quietly as not to startle her. No response. He brought his hand to her cheek and gently rubbed with his thumb. Come on Mochi, we gotta go, he said a bit louder. Why do you call her Mochi again? Eri asked. Because she has a stupidly unhealthy mochi addiction. Izuku said with a smile, trying to hide his slight nervousness. Had Ochako always been this heavy of a sleeper? All right then. Izuku leaned in and picked Ochako up in his arms. Eri, wanna piggyback ride? Izuku asked. Ari's eyes lit up. Yes, yes, yes. She squealed as she ran and jumped on Izuku's back. Hold on tight, okay, Izuku said to Eri. She vigorously nodded, wrapping her arms around Izuku's neck a bit tighter. Izuku looked down at the sleeping teenage girl in his arms with a slight worried look, before the green energy formed around him. With a sudden force of energy, Izuku and the girls were in the air, traveling back to the cabin. A little more, on hold it, Mr. Uraraka called out. A herd construction hat on his hand was up, signaling the construction truck to a halt in front of an abandoned-looking building, old and withering away. This the place, Mr. Uraraka? A burly, hairy-armed man asked as he got out of his construction truck. Mr. Uraraka nodded. Yes, this is where the hospital the doctor hired us to refurbish. We have to get this in upstanding condition. We've got a lot of money riding on this build. Uraraka said, looking at the blueprints for the hospital. And I assume it's in good hands. A woman's voice said from behind Mr. Uraraka. He turned around to see a slender woman with a doctor's coat, long red hair tied into a ponytail and rather unusual glasses. Mr. Uraraka smiled. Dr. Asagiri, welcome, welcome. Come to see progress on the building. More like an overview of the project. My boss, Dr. Garaki, like making sure things go smoothly. You just got the materials, I see. Dr. Asagiri said. Mr. Uraraka nodded. Yup, should be able to get started in the next few days. Did Dr. Kyudai Garaki have any changes that needed to be made to the original designs here? Mr. Uraraka asked. Mrs. Uraraka walking up to the two from a small hut the workers were in. None whatsoever. Just make sure you don't affect the foundation or anything underground. Dr. Asagiri said. We had some pipes that had been redone, so we can't have anything affect the underground portion. Underground, huh? Well, the foundation seems strong, so that should be fine. Mr. Uraraka said. Your daughter. She's Ochako Uraraka, isn't she? Dr. Asagiri said suddenly. Mr. Uraraka gave her a confusing look. Yes, how do you know my daughter? He asked. I saw her on TV in the sports festival. I think I may have even seen her around before. Asagiri said with a smile. She's definitely a knockout to say the least. There was a boy with her when I saw her too. Izuku Midoriya. What a kid he is, that's her boyfriend. I love my daughter to death, and I think she chose a good boyfriend too. I'm so proud of her, you know. Mr. Uraraka said, starting to walk away with his wife. If you have kids, then you totally know what I mean. Trust me, Asagiri said quietly with a large grin. Dr. Gasaki and I have children that are definitely something to be proud of. Where stories live. Discover now.